Welcome to the channel. It's time for end of the year games I completed video where I talk a little bit about all the games that I completed in the year 2025, or at least completed the main story of the game. 13 Sentinels Aegis had a lot of hype, being a flagship of visual novels, and even for me it did have somewhat interesting characters and interactions. This, however, was my first visual novel video game and it was super exhausting. The gameplay was repetitive, and in addition to reading a book, you had to read most of the stuff multiple times to proceed, and it just was not for me. The main story was interesting and mysterious, but it's too exhausting to play a visual novel. I will not play these types of games anymore. It rarely happens that I click with a game after watching the first trailer of it. It was instantly easy to see that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is going to be an interesting game. I immediately liked Mail almost as much as I liked Aloy in Horizon games. I was apparently not the only one, as this game got 9 different Game of the Year awards. I didn't quite love the story, but the game itself and characters were good enough to hold my curiosity until the credits were rolling. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was probably my most anticipated game for this year, and it didn't disappoint. The first game was great, but this one is much bigger and better. Most of the side content has a unique story that often surprises. Both main and side quests can have multiple different outcomes. This is the best medieval first-person RPG simulator, and I don't think we have enough of them. You can survive about halfway through the game by not really learning to do the fighting, but at some point I hit the wall, and when I looked at the tutorial I wish I hadn't ignored the art of fencing, because then the game would have been more enjoyable. Henry's story gets a satisfiable ending, and maybe after 5 years or so, hopefully the Warhorse Studios has cooked another completely new experience for us. It was difficult to decide what is my personal game of the year 2025, and now, as typing this script, I have decided that it's Death Stranding 2. It was clearly noticeable that it didn't win any Game Awards, which just says that it was a pretty good gaming year if a game this interesting gets no awards. About the game, I really liked it. The team now had a personal spaceship. Building was done much better than in the first game. Combat felt much better. Bosses were fun. New gear and weapons were fun to try. It had the best, most interesting characters in video games for this year. We shall see if there's gonna be another Death Stranding game in a few years, and if there is, I will likely gladly dedicate my time to it. It took some years, but finally I started to play the original Hollow Knight, and I got totally hooked. At some point I got a little bit frustrated and I looked something up online. I could have just been patient and explored everything myself, just like all these Metroidvanias. They sometimes require a little bit of patient exploration, and then eventually you make progress. I wanted to complete this also because I had already decided that I will get Hollow Knight Silksong, and it felt right to have completed this one first. I played the original Final Fantasy Tactics back in the day on PlayStation. Back then piracy was still in the grey area of the law, and my local gaming store sold me a pirate copy of the game. I remember starting this from the beginning at least twice because I somehow screwed up. I don't exactly remember how, but I did manage to complete the original game, and if I remember correctly, I used Ninja's class a lot. The story of the game can be a little bit complex, and I mostly purchased the remake because of the story. I wanted to see it again, and it was also nice to have those quality of life upgrades that makes the game more enjoyable to play. The experience was familiar even if it's plus 20 years since I played the original, and I could have done without the replay, but it was nice to see this one more time. Outer Worlds 2 felt like an interesting story-driven shooter with interesting RPG elements and large but not too large open areas. It seemed like the outcome can have a lot variety depending on what kind of choices and skills the player takes. The problem was that I couldn't concentrate for some reason, so I just played through the main story. Maybe there was too much text to read on all those terminals and so many speech options to select. If you choose to play this game, then I would recommend taking your time with it. Not hurry the main story, but instead reserve a good 60 hours to really experience the world in this game. I was seriously considering to start over from the beginning, but it felt too tempting to move on to other games. Hollow Knight Silksong was definitely one of the best games of the year. It's very similar to the original Hollow Knight, but much faster paced, and you also have a lot more options to develop the character through tools and swappable setups. I was very ambitious when I started playing. I wanted to find everything and do everything, and I did explore a huge part of the game. I found plenty of the upgrades, but at the very end of the game I somehow didn't realize that the music at the top of the tower was just a standard puzzle. I thought I would have to find all the notes before going there, and then I got fatigued and frustrated, and I looked it up online. At the same time, when I only had 2 last boss battles left, I got a burnout and stopped playing until the very end of the year, and then finally managed to play the last 2 bosses to get the normal ending. I didn't even want to play the Act 3, which would have given the true final boss and the true ending. Team Cherry likes to take their time when developing the game, so we might be much older when they release their next game, but I'm confident we still see it in our lifetime. That was all for my gaming year. For the 2026, I'm expecting the Tomb Raider remake to be a great experience, and I will probably like GTA 6. There will be no new mainline Final Fantasy game, no Horizon or Mass Effect or any of those old franchises that are gonna come back maybe 2027, but we shall see. That's it. Happy New Year and all that stuff. We shall probably do this again at the end of 2026.